Greetings, everybody. Great evening. All right, so I am pushing on through with this podcast because listen, we are here to discuss so many topics, and this podcast is called How to Whatever. And it's really generated around you, the listener, around you, the viewer, and around me, the presenter, because we are on a journey together to discover the next level. Let's put it that way. Um, I really want partners in building this community of people who are just all about self improvement, all about making things just a little bit better, just a little bit more habitable here on earth while we're here. So, in our first episode, we spoke about honoring people, honoring legends, honoring those who've left, those who are here. We even spoke about honoring people who sometimes we don't believe they deserve honor, and it is it is something that a lot of people don't understand how honor works. But don't worry, if it is that you want to hear some more about honor, I can talk about honor another time. Tonight I want to talk about something different. Tonight I want to talk about breaking something. Yeah, I want to break stuff. And tonight I want to talk about breaking habits. Now, our brains are wired in a certain way, right? That anything that we do repetitively, it tends to stick with us. And sometimes subconsciously, we don't even know that there are things that we're doing. I mean, we don't even recognize habits sometimes. We just kind of do stuff, and stuff happens. Uh, but we can be more deliberate about the stuff that we do if we're conscious of it. So, I mean, let's just dive right in. Yeah, I'm looking at I'm looking at the definition of habit, and it says a habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice. You know, especially one that is hard to give up. Have you ever noticed that the habits that are hard to give up are the bad ones? I mean, I've thought about this so many times. I want to create a good habit, and I do that for so long, thinking that I would stick with it. And the minute I for whatever reason, I stop, it's like I have to will myself to get back on track, right? However, let me have a bad habit, yeah? Let me have something that I really shouldn't be doing. That's something that's not healthy for me. Watch what happens. I start to crave something that's not good for me. Why is that? Why is it that we crave the things that are not good for us? I'll give you my habit. Used to be eating. Yeah? I used to be the picky eater. I used to be the midnight eater. I used to be the spread a whole 7 course meal in front of me and I'm just gonna tear right through that. That used to be me. And I used to eat out of habits, and I broke my habit. Here's how I did it. First things first, when you want to break a bad habit, right? Because don't worry, I'm going to go bad habit, then I'm going to go good habit. If you want to break a bad habit, really the first thing you got to do is identify that you got that bad habit. You got to know what it is, right? The first thing you got to do is know what that bad habit is. Once you can check and you know exactly what that bad habit is, the next thing you got to do is figure out when this bad habit occurs. A lot of times we are pushed, we are nudged, we are, just put in that place where we embrace the bad habit. And I don't want to go into any specific bad habit because we are all so different and we all have bad habits, right? So stress can trigger something to go off in our mind that brings us back to that bad habit. And we don't want to have a trigger that's automatically going to push us into a bad habit. Those things are really hard to break. So here's what we do. First things first, you identify what the bad habit is. Then you start to follow that trail. Where is that bad habit coming from? Where did we first start doing it? What is the trigger? So now that we found the trigger, we need to identify how we can be one with that. So if we're triggered by stress, then we need to figure out how we can capture that stress. Yeah? For the want of a better term. There's no avoiding it. Let's not try to avoid stress. We got to capture it, we got to own it, we got to know that this is stress and we're going to deal with it. But how? Right? So, stay with me now. We've identified the bad habit, we've identified the trigger. Now what do? We own that trigger point. We own whatever it is that's holding us to this bad habit, right? So we've had this bad habit for years. Our brain has been programmed. We can do this stuff in our sleep because yeah, it's muscle memory by now, right? If you've been doing something for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, it's going to become muscle memory. And bad habits are so hard to break that they become ingrained in our innermost psyche. As I said before, sometimes we don't even know that we're doing it. I've seen it a lot of times, people who bite their fingernails. Sometimes they're not even conscious of the fact that they're doing it. So identify that bad habit, yeah? Identify it, identify if there's a trigger that is pushing you toward that bad habit. If there is a trigger, let's find out what that trigger is and we're going to own it. We're going to capture it, we're going to own it, and we're going to make it our own. Now, here's where it gets tricky. That trigger or whatever it is that pushes you in that direction, you want to reroute it. You want to channel the stream of energy to a different direction. Okay? You have a speeding train and you want that train to not hit this set of people, or you want that train to not be a danger to this set of people over here. There's no way you're going to stop a speeding train. You need to redirect it, right? So here's what I did. I had a bad habit. I used to always want to eat at late at night, or if I'm feeling emotional, I'd want something to eat. I'd eat out of emotion, I'd eat out of boredom, I'd eat when I feel like, I'd eat when I don't feel like, I'd just eat. Now, what do? I've identified the fact that there are several things that used to trigger me into eating. Like I said, boredom, stress, boredom. Anyway, instead of eating, I started finding something else to channel my energy. So here's my eating. I took it, I owned it, and I'm now channeling it into something else. So I found out that I need to read more. Ugh. Yeah, I didn't like reading at all. Yeah, but I gotta read some more now. I gotta find books that interest me, and I gotta find short stories that I like and take it in small bites. There's nothing that's gonna be overwhelmingly captivating all at once. Maybe there is. I haven't found that one yet. If you have, find it and share it because yeah, this is a journey together, right? So let's get this going. I say redirect your energy into something else. Anything else. A lot of people when they feel like doing that bad habit, they go run, they go exercise, they go work out. You best believe those persons are going to be so super fit because that energy that is going into bad habit is pure and raw. I guarantee you, if you channel that energy into something else constructively, you are going to become a master at whatever that is. You find those persons who used to be on a bad habit and redirected their energy, those are the persons who are now teaching seminars on whatever it is that they redirected that energy into, right? I'm going to find some examples and give you. I really didn't think of finding examples. I really should have. But let's get back on track. So now we're trying to redirect that energy. It's not going to be easy. Never said it was going to be easy. Redirecting your energy from a bad habit to something constructive takes work. It takes discipline. Here's how we're going to do it because you got to break it down, right? You have this bad habit that you're trying to kick. You're trying to kick that bad habit to the curb. And now you found out where the trigger is and what pushes you, what nudges you in the direction of this bad habit, and you're trying to redirect it. So instead of going toward the bad habit, you're now going to start training yourself to going towards something else, something constructive. Let's make an example out of something. Now, if I like to eat and I would always go to Burger King, maybe after work, maybe before work, maybe at lunchtime, I'm going to start redirecting, right? So, heading to Burger King, I recognize that I'm heading to Burger King. I've built up my, hey man, you got to stop going to Burger King. Hey, nothing wrong with Burger King, by the way, if they want to sponsor me, hey, well, right. Nothing wrong with Burger King. But if I'm trying to kick a bad habit and the bad habit is eating all the time, then one or two times I'm going to redirect. So when I redirect, maybe I'm gonna, instead of going to a fast food joint, I'm gonna go to a gym. Complete opposite, right? So I've redirected my energy, and every time I think I'm gonna go there, I do something regarding fitness. Now, this is gonna take sacrifice. Breaking a bad habit takes a heck of a lot of sacrifice, right? But you can do it. Here's how: you're redirecting your energy and you're starving yourself of that bad habit. Now, it's not something that is going to just go away because you stop or because you're starving yourself. You're actually going to want it even more because your body, those neurons, those habits, those familiarities, they're going to always be there. They're always going to be playing on your emotions. Now you're going to have to shut them off. You're going to have to shut off your feelings every now and again, and you're going to have to redirect all of that energy into the whatever it is constructive that you're going to do. I got some options. I got some recommendations. As of course, fitness. Everybody needs to be healthier. So pick something that is fitness oriented, and every time you feel like doing your bad habit, turn on a yoga channel and try and do some stretching. Turn on a in-house exercise channel, because you don't have to be going somewhere. You can redirect your energy right where you are, and technology has brought us so far that you can turn on these things on your phone. You can set alarms on your phone to trigger when you think you're going to have a bad habit. Panic attack. Is that a thing? I think I just made that up. Anyway, point is, you're redirecting. Now you're going in a different direction. Now you got to stick with it. Discipline. Every single time you think you're going toward that bad habit, you need that discipline to redirect, right? Remember, there's no avoiding the trigger. The trigger is a part of life, right? Now, there are some triggers that you can avoid, but I recommend being stronger than the urge. The urge will always try to push you into the bad habit, but be stronger than the urge. Okay? So here's how we're going to make you stronger. Here's how we're going to improve the strength. You have to pick something that is good. You have to pick something that you want. You have to pick something that you desire, and hopefully it is beneficial to you in some way, right? My recommendations, like I said, something having to do with fitness, physical activity, fitness, whether it be just doing a push up. I'm not talking about 100. Just do one, right? And you're gonna have to start somewhere. So something having to do with fitness is always gonna be my first option. Second thing you can try, reading. Reading is so good. I know I don't like it. I've been breaking myself into a better habit of reading more. Gonna talk about good habits in a minute, but every time you feel that trigger, every time you feel that urge to go in a direction of your bad habit, try and pick up a book. Try and pick up something that is encouraging, something that is wholesome, something that feeds your brain with positivity. Because people are underestimating how important positivity is to our mental stability. When you feed your brain on all of the negativity that is in the world, and there's a lot of negativity in the world, when you feed on that, you actually decrease your happiness. You actually increase your depression state. Everybody has a level of depression, right? So you are trying to increase your happiness level and decrease your depression level. But if you feed yourself all of the things that are negative, then you're increasing your depression level, and it's no way of you're gonna fight it. You're gonna be driven towards bad habits out of depression. And believe me, it can become a spiral. So you wanna try and avoid negativity, and you wanna push more positivity, right? So here are two recommendations I've already given you that is something to do with fitness, and that is reading. Now, the third recommendation I'm going to give you, and just for now, because of, we don't want to stay here all night, but the third recommendation I want to give you is find a friend. This friend is not just going to be a friend, this friend is going to be an accountability partner. Now, I really just learned about this recently. I've always believed in it, but the level at which this thing can be impactful in your life is just incredible. You need an accountability partner. We all need accountability. And I think that recently the world has gone into a state where Nobody's accountable for what they do or what they want or what they think or what they believe. You can just do whatever you want and not be accountable because you somebody else has to respect your decision. No, I'm not disrespecting anybody's decisions. However, whatever your decision is, you have to be held accountable for it. All right? So I'm big on accountability. And if you want to break a bad habit, a great way to do it is find yourself an accountability partner. Somebody who you respect, somebody who, when they see you going the wrong way, they will not hesitate to stop you and say, hey man, I'm lovingly telling you to redirect your energy right now. Lovingly. I'm lovingly telling you, stop going that way and start going that way. Real simple, right? Ain't nobody gonna hold you by the neck and yeah, drag you off into the sunset. No, we're talking about lovingly correcting you when you're doing something wrong because it's gonna take a lot of patience and it's gonna take time in some cases, yeah? So let's face it, if you want to break a bad habit, you've got to own it, you've got to recognize it, you've got to know capture whatever it is that's triggering you. You got to redirect your energy into something wholesome, positive, and good. And you want to always have these three things in mind as recommendations to redirect your energy. One, something to do with physical fitness. Two, something to feed your brain on positivity. And three, accountability. I got you. Accountability. You know what I'm talking about. So, you know, before we go off into too much of the bad habits, let's talk about the good habits now. I am definitely reading more because of my good habits. And like I said, I kicked one habit to the curb. I'm no longer eating the way I used to eat. I'm now controlling my entire um, appetite. You know, I eat on schedules, or if I'm going to eat a snack, it's usually something on the better, healthier side of things. And if I do feel like eating, I actually do try to pick up a book. So it works most of the time. And it's not a perfect system, but I guarantee you it is better than giving in to bad habits. Here's how you get into a good habit. So click 17 and a half minutes. Good habits. All right. Good habits are hard to form. And here's why. Usually, good habits don't feel good. I don't know why they call them good habits. They don't feel good. I mean, I guess because they're good for you, that's why you can call them good habits, but let's face it, they're so hard to maintain. I know how to maintain them though. So one of the good habits that I was telling you about is I want to start reading more. Yeah. And like I said, modern technology has brought us so far that I can set timers on my phone to remind me to read. So here's one way in which you can create a good habit. Write stuff down. When you write it down, it now transfers from your brain to your eyes on a piece of paper. You're reading it and you're also hearing yourself and you're triggering senses. We've been given all of these senses for a reason. The more senses you can engage is the better it is for your system to believe it. When you hear something, you can say, okay, maybe you've heard it. But then when you hear it and see it, then you're like, yo, I remember that. When you hear it, see it, and then you repeat it, then that's when it's going to be a little bit deeper in your memory. You're going to remember it even more. So the idea behind creating a good habit is making sure that you've written it down. What do you want to do as your good habit? Now, of course, my example is reading. So I've written it down. Which books do I want to read? What do I want to read about? I want to read about self improvement. I want to read about leadership. I want to read about management. So I've gone into my Amazon and I've gone into my Google and I've gone into several different product drops that I could put right across the screen. And even YouTube, the University of YouTube has so many recommendations for great books and read alongs that you can always enjoy. So if you're in your car, you can start there. Now, for me, I like to do both. I like to listen and I like to try to read. So that's what I recommend. Reading is a great habit to start. And in order to start a great habit, you really have to start the practice of putting it on paper. You got to start writing. Yeah? So any habit that you're going to form, if we started the gym right now, the first thing any gym instructor would do is get his little piece of paper or a book and he'd start writing where you are now. Where are you now in your journey to creating a good habit? You're at zero. If you're starting the good habit right now from zero, put that down. You're at zero. You have 0 days. That's fine because it won't be 0 days tomorrow. You'd have done it one time and then you'd have one. You track your progress. So once you're creating a good habit, keep yourself accountable. Oh, there's that word again, accountable. Yeah, so keep yourself accountable of the good habit. Yeah. Now, another couple of ways to start a good habit. A good habit comes from repetition. Now, anything you want to learn, anything you want to do, and you genuinely want it to stick, you gotta repeat it. And at the beginning, it's gonna be a lot of energy. So you're gonna be bubbling with it. Yeah? So you just keep that bubbling going. You keep that bubbling going as long as you can. And the minute that bubbling starts to stop off, in your journal, you're gonna set your timeline. This is how long my bubble lasted. This is how long I could keep up with my energy. Now you gotta reset. Because this is a hard thing to do for some people. Some people, right here, that's where they're done. So there's no more habit after that, and that's no way to create a good habit. So you've created that energy, and it has to do with your feelings, because there ain't nothing wrong with following feelings, but you just gotta direct it in the right way. So now you followed your feelings, and you're keeping your energy to create a good habit. You've reached the limit of where those feelings can take you, and now your energy starts to dwindle. What do? You gotta reset. You gotta reset. Check your journal, you scratch it, and you're probably gonna start back at zero. You're gonna pump yourself up, and this is where you're gonna realize whether you really want it. Because this is where willpower kicks in. And I hope it gives you a swift kick, because it's gonna be a little difficult to get that blood pumping. That bad habit is gonna be sneaking up on you. But this good habit is really what you want, right? So you gotta will yourself. You gotta will yourself into pushing to the next peak, right? Because once you're pushing through that little dull moment, the energy is gonna come back, and it's gonna come back when you realize that you've grown in this good habit. Keep growing in this good habit. Every single day that we're here on earth, we can grow. We have an opportunity to learn something new. And there is free education. Knowledge is free. Information is free. You can get it. So go seek it. Go hunt it out. And you have to be interested. So if you're creating a good habit, start with something that you're interested in. Start with a hobby that you like what it is and you feel accomplished at the end of it. Right? So pick something that is wholesome for you and something that you like. And then here is the real deal. Find the people who will go with you, because that's going to be really important. You got to fellowship. You got to have people around you who share your habits and your hobbies. If you're doing this by yourself, who are you going to share it with? Sharing what you have is the greatest way to keep it going. And there are two reasons why. One, you won't feel alone. And two, you'll have somebody who will urge you on. That other person, you'll almost feel encouraged, or you'll feel like you want to share it with them, and it's going to be a part of building your energy going forward. So just to remember, if you're starting a good habit, it's all about the patience, it's all about the practice, it's all about the repetition. Try to find something that you already enjoy, right? Use the emotions of the first couple and keep that bubble going. Push as far as you can with that energy and take record of what it is that you're doing and how far you've come, because that record is going to help you when you kind of slow down to build it back up again, because you definitely want to build it back up, right? This is a good habit that we're forming, people. Come on. We want to build it up. We want to get pumping, right? And we can't do it on our own. Going solo is no way to create a good habit. You really want to push it with somebody else. Now, I say that to say you don't have to. There are so many people out there that have the willpower, the strength to do it on their own, and kudos to them. But guess what? 90% of people out there are not that strong in will. I'm one of the 90%. I prefer to have an accountability partner. I prefer to have somebody who shares my interests, shares my hobbies, and are willing to go with me on this journey, right? So, last thing I'm going to leave with you guys, and I hope you've taken something away from all of this. Here's what I want to say. If you are going to create a good habit, and I do recommend that you pick one and create it right now, write it down. I'm going to recommend that you do. If you really want to create a good habit, start now. Don't wait. Don't try to find like a good time. There's no timing issue. You got to just start now, and you got to remember, if you fall off, try and get back on it. Have somebody who will encourage you. But you got to start now. It's not about New Year's resolutions. It's not about trying to be impressive to somebody else. Those things are just momentum fillers. Everybody falls off of a New Year's resolution because they never plan for the reset. There's a certain amount of time that your New Year's resolution will take you. If you're trying to impress a girl or a guy and you're doing something to create a good habit to impress that person, there's a time frame that you're going to use to measure how much you're willing to put into impressing that person. I'm not saying that you can't start that way, but expect that that timeline is going to run out. And when it runs out, you got to be prepared mentally for the reset. And the reset is going to need your willpower. Feed your willpower with positivity, my friends. My friends, I'm telling you, positivity will go a long way. So if you've gotten anything from all of this ranting that I've been going through, I'm gonna try to read a book tonight. I'll tell you all about it next time. Um, I hope everybody's having a great time on my channel. Please let me know, share it, and comment. It's really about being interactive. So I'm all about those comments. I go through them, I interact, I write some of them down because I want to learn from you what's going on out there, and I want you to be impacted by some of the words that I say. So stay tuned for next week. We will be talking about some more stuff on how to whatever, man. Take care, everybody. Bye.